Donald Trump picking his vice presidential running mate today, announcing Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. This coming as GOP delegates from across the country gather in Wisconsin to kick off the Republican National Convention. Our chief political reporter Jason Zimmerman is live in Milwaukee with your voice, your vote coverage. Jason.
Jeff, the pick of J.D. Vance already proving to be a popular choice among conservatives and also a lot of the delegates on the convention floor right now. Obviously, he'll be making a big speech before a national audience on Wednesday night, and that means both independents and undecided voters will be tuning in as well for that. With Wisconsin being the host state, our delegation was able to receive front row seats throughout the week, including 3 members from the 8th Congressional District, which includes the Green Bay area, who provided us with this picture a short time ago, sharing their excitement. Trump's acceptance speech for the party's nomination is scheduled for Thursday night, and we're told that he is rewriting it to reflect the assassination attempt on his life this past weekend. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich told Wisconsin delegates today he expects the incident to be on everyone's mind throughout the entire convention.
And I think the convention will be very different. I think that we have crossed a watershed. We were right at the brink of falling apart as a country and potentially drifting towards a civil war. And I think that this shocked everybody. And I think you will see a very different approach. Trump said this morning that he's rewriting his convention speech.
State Democrats once again not doing any media availabilities today as they work to recapture their message moving forward in light of this shooting on Saturday night. But we were just told that they do plan to speak to us at some point tomorrow. Reporting live at the RNC in Milwaukee, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.